So how
Yeah.
did you get into, I mean, you're very opinionated on a bunch of issues that you can see on your channel, but how did you what kind of triggered you to being critical of the manosphere and kind of the red pill content creation world?
Yeah, it's too bad because when I actually started in the space, I wasn't just critical. Because I think there's actually a lot of value to the red pill space, particularly like pre-Sneeko Tate. I feel like it kind of got fucked up a little bit with like this whole Islam weird grift mark. But pickup artistry, for example, is kind of red pill adjacent, and I've always had no real big issue. So I don't just hate the red pill. I am interested in men's spaces because I'm interested in working with young men. So I've always been interested in working with young men. I've worked with high risk youth, honestly, since I was like 19.
Oh, wow.
Um, yeah, and in addictions. So, and high risk criminological and addiction tends to be men. So I've just kind of grown this interest in working with men in difficult spaces. And I think the red pill really appeals to men who are struggling and kind of lost. And so I think that's what started my interest in it. And then my criticality came from being like, you are reaching the people who need to be reached. And sometimes you're feeding them good advice like exercise and like push yourself and work on yourself. Like that's good advice. But then like you're it's coming with like a big heaping steaming pile of shit on the side of like, let's just shit on women, let's obsess over virgins even though we like can barely talk to our moms, and just like really toxic like stupid fucking, I call it like meninism, just like sorry, I'm trying to avoid using this word from now on. Moronic positions on gender dynamics that I think actively harm the young men that they're reaching out to. So there's some good stuff that young men can get from it, especially the pickup, more of the pickup artistry of like how to talk to women, how to actually cold approach, because there's a lot of skills that men need to acquire in
Mm.
dating that I don't think anyone wants to talk about it. Like nobody wants to deal with the fact that men do need to be approaching women and oftentimes cold approaching, and that
Yes.
is a skill. It is a skill to walk the line of appearing like you're a guy who's got that dog and not fucking creepy. That's a really hard line to navigate,
Yes.
and I we shouldn't expect men to know how to do it instantly. And I hate this idea that men should just don't have to do it. And it's clearly not true. Everyone's not having sex. Nobody's meeting each other. Nobody's dating. So that's what I really appreciate about the red pill is encouraging men to like pursue women and talk to women and grow themselves. Just comes with like a side order of some really unhealthy stuff.
It's such a skill, and it has to be nuanced, and there's I remember it seems like the first guy on uh the Manosphere scene, I don't remember his name, I just remember he wore a huge hat that he said, like, "Oh, this is for attention," and his big thing was nagging women, like, you have to nag women, you have to
Yes.
put them down. I just don't think that that's good advice for most guys, again, because it's a skill you need to learn. Even
It's an
if you're
excellent skill if you could do it well.
Oh,
But yeah,
really? You think there's a
oh, of
positive way to
course.
nag?
Oh yeah. People I the only way I flirt with people is nagging them. It's like teasing them lightly,
Okay,
right?
that's
Like
like
right,
ribbing,
right?
that's like yeah, that's like
Ribbing
how
is flirting though. Ribbing is
true.
flirting. And the issue is that guys A don't realize that it's flirting, and B they'll be like, "You're fat." And it's like, "That's not negging. That's just being rude." You fucking
Yeah, you
idiot,
have to
right?
have banter, you have to have wit because that is
Yeah.
kind of how guys get along with other guys is by
Yes.
roasting and
Right?
shitting on them.
But it's the most common form of nagging. Like if you watch a guy and a girl, that are into each other, she'll be like, "Oh my god, fuck you, you're such an asshole," and he'll be like, "Oh yeah," like, and they'll be going back and forth and saying mean things to each other the whole time, and they're both smiling and laughing and like
Mhm.
making eye contact because ribbing and nagging and all this is flirting. It's just play. It's just play, um, and nobody knows how to do it anymore. So yeah, I really appreciate pickup artistry for that. It's just like, yeah, negging became then it kind of evolved. I can't remember which pickup artist evolved it, but he's like, it's actually to cut women down so that they rely on you more. And it's like, no, it's
Right!
not. That's
Why do
not
you
the
want
point
that?
of this. Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. A lot of these men's spaces start out great where it's like, let's learn practical skills. And they're like, but also fuck women, right? And it's like, guys, can we just chill out? Can we just like learn practical skills? Yeah.
Women will never not like being approached, and I know the Me Too movement really confused a lot of people, it scared a lot of guys off, like, "Fuck it, I don't wanna lose my job, I don't wanna get canceled, I'm just, like, not even gonna try," but that's terrible advice. There's such a very few percentage of people that are meant to never that are meant to thrive without having any kind of partner. Most people do better finding someone, not that you have to get married or have to have kids, but like having that partner, that person that has your back. Like, I think it makes you live longer. It helps you achieve your goals. And to just say to men, like, no, just fuck all women. And that's not going to help you in your workplace or anywhere in life, because odds are you're going to work with other women. You're going to be out in the world with other women. And if you just cut off 50% of the population, like just write them off entirely, that's you're cutting off your opportunities, you're cutting off all your relationships, all the people that you could meet through those people. It's and women do it too when they completely write off men as a whole. They're not going to get as far in work, they're not going to get as far in life if you just dismiss 50% of people.
Yeah.
It's so unhealthy.
Yeah, I agree. And so I appreciate that about the red pill. I appreciate the red pill being honest with men about obstacles that they face. I just don't appreciate some of the extra baggage. And this new Islam grift is really weird.
How did it get into this Islam obsession?
I think it started with Tate. I think Tate drove it. I think Tate realized that Saudi oil princes have a lot of money in Dubai. And so he was like, yeah, I'm Muslim too, you know? And then all the red pill boys
He
followed
wanted
their
to be an
zaddy.
oil
Yeah.
tycoon. He wanted to
I, th-
be an a Saudi prince.
I think he just
Right,
wants
because
money.
he just wants money, and his whole
Yeah.
thing is women are kind of a means to an end.
Mm-hmm.
They're just there to webcam for you, and 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 then that's like, all right, well, you're gonna focus on a religion that kind of encourages maybe multiple wives. So
Yeah, it's a great excuse. I suspect with Tate, so this is something nobody talks about. This is something my husband pointed out. Tate got popular in July of 2022. That's when he blew up. He was the most Googled name in July of 2022. A month before that, Bitcoin crashed. Guess where all his money was? Bitcoin.
was it in Bitcoin?
It sure was.
How do you know? Did he
He
talk
talks
about it?
openly about it. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
He prefers Bitcoin because he's kind of doing that criminal stuff.
Yeah, he's kooky. Oh my gosh.
So
Okay,
I
so
think everyone is a means to an end for Andrew Tate. I think he
ooh,
just wants to amass power and money for himself.
so Andrew Tate TM came about when he lost all his money in Bitcoin.
Gotta
I
wonder.
lost I feel his pain. I lost about $900 in Dogecoin right after Elon Musk came on SNL. It crashed, and I was like, well, I guess I'm done.
Yeah.
I guess I'm done with Bitcoin.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my theory on Andrew Tate. Obviously, I could be wrong, but
I can see his appeal because he's very confident. He people who are lost want to follow someone who is confident, who's successful, who is all the things that they would like to eventually be. But ultimately, I think so many of these people are just like out for themselves, and it's so funny when like the grift is so obvious, like selling a $30,000 self-help class. And I loved the way you pointed out, because I was watching this woman and I was like, wait a minute, that mirror is really cheap. Like I was like, not that I'm fancy at all, but I've been in rich people's homes a couple of times. And I was like,
don't
yeah,
look like
she's
that.
not, her home is like not a wealthy person's home. And that's a shade, but it's like, when you're in a fancy person's house, you're like, damn, everything is just, it's like a museum.
High quality. Yep.
Yeah. And she had like a tacky, like live, love, laugh thing going on in her
Yeah.
background. And I was like, oh shit. That's such a perfectly like female thing to point out. Where guys are like,
Yeah.
huh? What? What do you mean? Just because there's a big letter M in the background means that she doesn't make any money.
Yeah.
Uh, okay. K Max says, is a fundamental problem that too many guys come off as boring. I think if you have a boring job, you are not passionate about it, makes you boring. Your main advice would be to get an interesting hobby. So many people's jobs are boring. So many people are doing something they're good at and not something they love, because it's just a job sometimes. But could a boring job make you boring? No. I would hope that with anybody, they're more than just their day job. Particularly if you hate your day job. Yeah, your outside relationships and interests should be what's fulfilling you.
Yeah, I mean, I think I always like girls. I say this for about women. I think it's true about everyone. Women only care about how you make them feel. Do they feel safe? Do they feel appreciated? Do they feel sexy? Do they feel comfortable? That's what they're going to care about, and special. That's what they care about. I don't know if boring is the issue. Um, it's some combination of not meeting them kind of at the emotional point that they need. I think like the fuck boys, for example, hit a couple of these things. Um,
Oh,
and boring is tertiary to what they're hitting on. Fuckboys are exciting, but there's something else that's going on there that I think is like drawing women towards them. Fuckboys are really good at making women feel fucking sexy, special, appreciated. It feels exciting. It's not
yeah.
because
Like
an accountant's boring. A
it's
fuckboy
like
could be an accountant.
fuck boys make you feel like it's the end of the world and they have to fuck you before it's all over. And I wonder, I think what I'm reading in here, K-Max, is like some guys think, oh, like, oh, yeah, women go for the bad boy, or am I not exciting? And it's like, yeah, it's not about being excited. Finding the things you're passionate about in life just inherently makes you more interesting. Uh, just finding the topics you can go off on, or yeah, an interest at any level of mastery in any area is what makes you interesting, I think,
Mhm.
and it makes you interesting for yourself. I'm not explaining it well.
Competence. You're talking about competence, right?
Competence, yeah.
Like if you're an accountant and you're a really good piano guy, girls are gonna be into you. You ever seen like this quiet, shy, awkward guy who's like ripping on a piano, and
Oh,
girls are like,
I
"Hi,
wanna suck your
my
dick.
name's my name's Ashley," and he's like, he's got like no charisma or anything. Competence is really, really attractive, um, rather than just being boring or whatever. You know,
Yeah, feelings, huh? Just feeling good, feeling safe. That's
that's
true.
all
That is
people
what
care
people
about.
that and guys go, "Why do women fall for the fuck boys?" It's because, yes, they wanna fuck.
Why do you fall for the 304s? Because they want to
Right.
fuck. They make you feel special. They make you feel like your dick's is the difference between saving a
Yeah.
human species or not. That's why.
They make you feel like you have the most important dick in the world.
Yeah.
What is do you see the pendulum swinging back and away from kind of MGTOW? And the most upsetting trend I see, and I mention this all the time, is like the go get a vasectomy thing, which I don't think is reversible all the time. And it just seems like you're slapping God in the face and you're cutting off your life force. I just feel like there are easier ways to not get someone pregnant.
It's pretty extreme, for sure. It also feels like a lot of people will think that they can get a vasectomy and then will not wear condoms with casual sex. And
Because you can still get
STIs
STDs.
are still problems. So it's a little concerning to me for that. I mean, the whole idea is don't get baby trapped, right? They're like worried about getting baby trapped. Um, I don't know. It just like just wear a condom. Just wear a condom, bro. Just learn how to put it on, learn how to fit it. Everyone's like, but it's not 100% effective. Okay, but like a vasectomy, really? I mean, you can obviously do whatever you want to your body, but it seems like an extreme response.
Yeah, that's like I'm gonna cut my tits off because well shit. I mean, there are a lot of trans people who are actually have just suffered abuse and they don't realize that they need therapy for the abuse, not to like hack off body parts, which is really the saddest part about the whole social contagion of transness. But we're jumping all over. That's a deep
That's a can of
topic.
worms.
It's a can of
Is that
worms.
the can of worms you want to
There's
open?
so many cans of worms. Which one to open? Okay, yeah, that was my question. Do you see the pendulum sort of swinging back? And if not, what would it take?
From kind of like the
The
Overton left that you've
MGTOW,
heard,
yeah.
or
Oh,
sorry, the pendulum for the manosphere itself.
for the manosphere itself and for men that kind of need that help, they need a role model. What would I mean, does it take just better role models, better like influencers, or does it take enough men being like, "Okay, I've tried the manosphere thing and I'm not happy with this either, so I have to try something else."
There does seem to be an aging out. A lot of guys tend to get out of the manosphere by like 25, 26 for the most part.
Oh, wow.
Um,
That's still
the
pretty
much
young.
Yeah, there's a lot of really young men in it, and then they have sex once or twice to get a girlfriend, and they realize like life isn't everything that they've been told. Um, so I don't know. I see like the manosphere as it's and the femosphere fears. They've always existed. They'll always exist. There's always young people looking for masculine and feminine role models to try to figure it out. Divine feminine energy and being a top G is just like the new brand of it right now. It's hard to predict what will become the new popular thing. Like, who the fuck knows? Who could have predicted Tate? It'll just take like another kind of major figure to drive like a new wave of interest. It'd be great if it was a good role model, but I tend to find the people who like rise to like some of these top social influencer spaces are oftentimes not very good people. So it's hard to combine like really good person and a good role model and appeals to a really large base and doesn't get completely destroyed by the left and become vitriolic. So like Jordan Peterson was kind of falling into that really well, but like he had a coma, he seems to have a brain injury, and now he's like really he's just if you watch his 2018 stuff to now, it's a very different individual. So
Has it really changed that much?
yes. A lot of people don't believe me, but I went back. He used to use transgender pronouns pretty regularly on most shows. He used to be much
Wow.
more nuanced in his takes, much more cautious in the way that he spoke, and now he's a lot more partisan. He's a lot like kind of quicker to jump to conclusions, and I don't feel like he's always updating his psych knowledge as much as
Ooh,
he was in the past. He
okay.
seems to like keep repeating studies that now have like failed to replicate, or authors have come out and been like, actually, that's not precisely like how it should be interpreted. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay, I'll have to look back at because I listened to his long form interviews on the Daily Wire. I think they're pretty interesting. I mean, they're
Mhm.
great for a long car ride if you've had coffee and there's no risk of falling asleep.